Hello everyone, I am Arpita Kanthal, a student of 4th semester of Budge Budge College. Today I am going to talk about the most powerful and unforgettable piece in English literature, the description of hell in John Milton's Paradise Lost. This story is not just about heaven and hell, it is about pride, ambition, free will, temptation, and the consequences of our choices. Before we begin, let us know a little bit about the poet. John Milton was a 17th century English poet, scholar, and a political thinker. Even though he became blind in later his life, he still continued his writing. His greatest work is Paradise Lost, an epic poem published in 1667. John Milton himself said that his purpose was to justify the ways of God to men. In other words, he wanted to explain that why evil exists in this world and why God's justice is still fair. Now, what is Paradise Lost about? The story tells us the story of Satan, who rebels against God because of his pride. Satan and the angels who support him are defeated in great war in heaven and thrown into hell. After falling into hell, Satan decided to take revenge on God, not attacking God again but corrupting his newest creation, human beings. He tempts Adam and Eve in Garden of Eden, leading it to the fall of man. So the story is not about only loss of paradise but also the beginning of human suffering and sin. Now let us enter the most fascinating part of the poem, the description of hell. Milton does not describe hell as some place where flames simply burn forever. Instead, he creates a terrifying world that feels both psychological and physical. As Satan opens his eyes, he sees an endless land of fire, smoke, darkness, and despair. It is a place without hope, peace, and God's presence. One of Milton's most famous phrases is "no light but rather darkness visible." This is one of the greatest paradoxes in English literature. Darkness usually means the absence of light. So how can darkness be visible? Milton means the hell has enough light to its prisoners to see their endless suffering, but never enough to give them any comfort or hope. The light only exists to reveal their pain. Milton also describes hell as a dungeon horrible on all sides around as one great furnace flame. Imagine standing inside an enormous furnace where flames burn everywhere. Yet the flames do not warm you. Instead, they only increase your pain. The fire becomes a symbol of endless suffering rather than comfort. Satan and the rebel angels fall into a huge lake of liquid fire after falling from heaven for 9 days and 9 nights. They lie there defeated, surrounded by smoke, burning rocks, and poisonous air. This frightening image immediately shows readers the terrible consequences of pride and rebellion. But surprisingly, the most painful thing about hell is not the fire. The greatest punishment is separation from God. Milton suggests that losing God's presence is far more painful than physical suffering. Hell is empty of love, hope, joy, and peace. It is complete isolation from everything good. The idea becomes even deeper when we look at Satan himself. Satan is one of the most complex characters ever created in literature. At first, he appears brave, determined, and inspiring. Even after losing the war, he refuses to surrender. He gathers the fallen angels and encourages them with his famous words, "Better to regain in hell than serve in heaven." These lines perfectly reveal Satan's personality. He values power more than truth. His pride is so great that he would rather rule over misery than humbly serve God. Another important quotation is, The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell a hell of heaven. This line still quoted today because it speaks about human psychology. Milton suggests that our thoughts shape our experience of life. A proud, jealous, and angry mind can become a personal hell even while living in a beautiful place. Likewise, hope and faith can create peace even during difficult times. This is why many critics believe that hell in Paradise Lost is not only a physical place but also a state of mind. Milton fills his description with powerful symbolisms. The fire symbolizes punishment, guilt, and the destructive nature of sin. The darkness symbolizes ignorance, despair, and separation from divine truth. The burning lake symbolizes the endless consequences of rebellion. Even Satan himself becomes a symbol of uncontrolled ambition and excessive pride. His intelligence and courage are impressive, but because they are guided by arrogance instead of wisdom, they ultimately destroy him. Milton also uses many literary devices to make hell unforgettable. The phrase darkness visible is a paradox because it combines opposite ideas. His vivid description of flames, smoke, and the burning lake are examples of powerful imagery that allow readers to picture hell clearly. There is also irony. Satan believes he is free after rebelling against God, but he actually becomes trapped forever in suffering. His search for freedom leads only to slavery under his own pride. Now let's talk about why Paradise Lost still matters today. Although it was written more than 300 years ago, its message remains relevant. Today, people are often driven by greed, jealousy, revenge, and the desire for power. We often see people making unethical choices because they refuse to admit mistake or because they value success more than honesty. These emotions can destroy families, friendships, careers, and even societies. Milton reminds us that the real battle between good and evil begins inside the human mind. The line, the mind is its own place, especially meaningful in today's world. Anxiety, hatred, guilt, and anger can create a personal hell, while hope, kindness, and self control can bring peace. In this sense, Milton's hell is not just a place after death, it also represents the emotional and moral suffering that people experience in everyday life. In conclusion, the description of hell in Paradise Lost is much more than a frightening picture of fire and darkness. It is a powerful symbol of what happens when pride defeats humility and ambition replaces wisdom. Through unforgettable imagery, memorable quotation, and the tragic character of Satan, Milton shows us that the greatest punishment is not physical pain, but losing truth, goodness, and hope. That is why Paradise Lost continues to be one of the greatest works in English literature, and its message remains meaningful even in today's world.